Hi, it's the Forest Daughter Creole, and this is my newest journal, Robin Hood. I'm so excited. This is such a big, chunky beast that I actually have a chain closure on it to help keep it closed. These little tags are varnished on one side and blank on the back for writing. And these have been varnished several times to give them a clanky coin look. And these little tiny check glass flower beads will just bounce with the barest movement. This chain is brass on iron and it will continue to tarnish. That's part of its charm. It's a lobster clasp, so you can adjust it and get it out of your way when you're working in your journal. The cover I chose is part of a beautiful set by SugarPepperPress called Crown and Cloak, Pages and Papers. And I also use the Crown and Cloak Ephemera and Foldables. Again, that's SugarPepperPress. This is a topper that's been varnished. On the other side is Robin Hood in the shadows in a cloak. And this place to sign your name, ownership of the tome here, is not varnished. So this also comes off. You can use it either way, sets aside. And now we're to the actual cover. The cover here, I have pieced together different fabrics from upholstery swatches. And this spine here had unfinished edges. So I have hand blanket stitched and then stitched the pieces together by hand and then gone ahead and glued in the fabric. But what I wanted you to see were the actual dimensions. This is a nice big book. Fairly standard width, 6 inches. Fairly standard height. It goes to 9 inches. But the spine on this beast is nearly 4 inches. The signature ties have all been beaded. And this is Toho glass beads in a really pretty finish that's called permanent aluminum and permanent galvanized starlight. They don't shine so much as a subtle gleam, and each strand is ended with a little metal geometric bead. This journal has 126 pages when you count the front and back of each page and you're counting the full-size pages. Has 64 tags, 3 bookmarks, and all sorts of other interesting things tucked in here. It is so big that I'm not sure I can get the image here very well. We'll try. So it starts off with Robin Hood looking up at a castle and his horse. There are 6 signatures in here. I have one of my snowshoe kittens playing here. A little booklet with tea-dyed paper. I use a real heavy paper. It's often called menu weight, and I tea-dye all the pages myself. The ones that are the images are printed on an ivory copy paper, so the edges aren't bright white. I have beaded several of the tags. This one is not only glass beads, but little paper tags. So it kind of flutters pretty. It also has what I call a cigar band topping, which is where I layer different widths of complementary papers to give a richness. There are so many tags in here. Again, I'm having trouble getting the second page in the view here. There we go. A lot of the tags are from Wildflower Publishing Forest Papers and Forest Junk Journal Supplies. They're the name of the two kits. Here you can see how some of the tea dyeing takes decorative design here. I soak the paper in Louisiana tea, then spread it out on vinyl tablecloths to dry outside, and sprinkle tea leaves, dried tea leaves over the damp paper, and that's where you're getting the speckledy look. I hand tear all the edges so that you'll get a rumpledy look when they're stacked. And in this journal are several hand-lined pages. I use a bamboo dip pen, and I use dark brown archival ink, shallow ink, so that it would run dry and make different thicknesses of the lines. A little bit of fussy cutting. A tag with a hedgehog tag and room to write. A little tiny journal clip here. Then this folds open. Here we have tags in a half circle pockets, a deer. I don't print two-sided when I print out the tags. So that means each of these has a special paper selected and hand glued on the back. Adds more variety. And I've tried to leave writing space. This is a hand fussy cut, owl. And on this side, again, it's hard to get both pages in here, is a trio of tags with these little jingly bells. And they can be arranged so either side is showing up, slides into this belly band, and then down into a tag stop so they don't slide on out of the book. So much in this pocket. Tags, an envelope, more tags. This is supposed to work like when you fold the four sides of a box together. Tea-dyed paper from a tree identification book by Golden. Extra writing pages. An additional tag. All stacks together. On this side, more tags. There's additional room in a lot of these pockets so that you can tuck in your own things. Here's another envelope. This one is a ladder style folded page. And throughout are little images of the characters in Robin Hood. It's from a 1914 book, Bold Robin Hood and His Outlaw Band, pictures and text by Lewis Reed, and I got it from JUNKMILL on Etsy. This is colorful aluminum anodized jump rings in dark green and dark bronze. My cat is playing with the lamp that I use to hold my phone. And this is the sheriff on this one here. And that's the end of the first signature. This is a heavy green paper. Tags with writing room. Tag on the far side. I've used a shorter page here so you can see behind it. Here's one of the hand-lined pages. And I've stitched in a little notebook with vintage ledger paper that I've tea-dyed. This is Will Stutely, another character in the original stories. And I have included folded sheets of lined paper. You can tuck your own goodies in here, fold it closed, and they will stay in place. So I've just tucked it in so one line sheet shows and one line sheet doesn't, but you can put them any way you like. This says Secrets. There's a center fold. It says Wild and Free. Though he wasn't really, was he? He was outlawed. He wasn't free to go anywhere. These are checked glass leaves that are copper on one side and glass on the other, on long strands of Ceylon cording. The bookmark has been triple varnished with polyurethane varnish. There are 3 of them in this book. Feel free to take them out and use them wherever you'd like. More writing space. I love how some of this tea paper turned out darker this time than it often does. Here's the back of that little book with the ledger paper. The back of the line sheet. Grit. Now this paper is not the heavy menu paper. It is 100% cotton rag resume paper that you can sometimes find at thrift shops. It takes the tea dye differently and it wicks it through in really pretty patterns. Okay. These illustrations here are by LianaScrap from a kit called Elven Woods Digital Junk Journal. I've added collaging bits. Another medieval maiden. This one says letters. Some crinkly paper, more lines. Here we have 2 tags with characters. This is Richard O'Lee and the Tinker. They flip over, writing space on the back. And if you look very closely with this fine twine, is a little sword charm. Here's a swirly thing. Opens up with another bookmark and room for writing. On this bookmark, we have more beads and just one of the checked glass leaves. On top is cotton fabric that I have hand frayed. So this can be moved to any place in the journal that you'd like. It can also be taken out of the journal and carried with you if you need to write a list. On the bottom here is a checked glass rondelle. Fussy cutting of a squirrel. I love these pages because the color back behind them is so similar to the tea-dyed paper. This is not actually cut, this is torn. So many tags. These tags have Toho glass beads, and I have put the holes off center so that they both stack pretty. Room to write. And they're very similar here. One off center. It's my favorite tag in the whole bunch. This is Bound by Oath. It's a Robin Hood sparrow. Pretty fox. On this one, we have the Bishop of Hereford. And to tie this in place is a little journal with different types of paper. This kind of silvery circular pattern is paper between layers of aluminum tea lights. Goes in its pocket. And the final of the 3 bookmarks, also polyurethane. This has a brown satin ribbon, a translucent chiffon ribbon, and a little tiny velvet ribbon. And it says, "In the forest, time is a gentle breeze." The paper here glued down a little bit wompy. Again, it's that resume paper that takes the tea very well. But it leaves such a nice ripply pattern that I didn't tear it out and start again. I liked it, so I hope you do it as well. This one says tales, like stories. The Emerald Watcher. Fussy cutting on a pocket. These can be put in either way. All of the tags are backed in papers that should work whichever way you flip them in. This is Maid Marian herself, dressed for writing. Here we have 2 tags with writing space between them. It's kind of like a hidden writing space. And this one is Alan of Dale, of course, with his harp. It says, "Remember." I have a damaged thumbnail that's healing, so it makes this a little hard. Inside is the woman that shows through the heart-shaped cutout, but I also papered behind it, so it'd be pretty either way. And you can flip this and show the berries and the rose. Another one of the cigar bands. Room to write down here. This Latin script that is so beautiful is called Medieval Prayer, and it's by FableArtsCo. And little tiny bits of it work well in so many journals. I highly recommend FableArtsCo on Etsy. Folds out, pulls out, pocket with 2 more tags. This pocket is large enough that you can add your own papers in here as well. And we are into the 5th signature. Left a page totally blank. I just really liked the tea dyeing. This character is Eric O'Lincoln. And this is really neat. I don't know how to capture this for you, but we'll try. This folds out and folds out and folds out to a hidden rabbit. And the back side is long as well. And this is Richard himself on this tag. So this all folds out, folds back in, lots of writing space. Here we have more hand beading on DMC floss, and I picked 2 flosses that are similar in color but not exactly the same, and added a check glass owl. This is just a little bit of frayed fabric on a paper clip in case you need to add something of your own. This one says hidden. All the signature ties are different colors. Makes it kind of interesting. This is a big stack of fun stuff on a lined page. Down on the bottom here are 4 little check glass flowers. This just folds up. There's a tag here. Inside the tag is a little booklet. This folds back in silent watch. Sticks under the tag. This little piece down here folds out. Folds closed, upside down so it dangles. Stacked again and slid under the big paper clip. These are little coin envelopes with 2 tags in each one. These fold down. I will list all of the kits I used in the description of this video and also on the Etsy listing for this journal. So if there's something you really want to work with yourself, you will be able to find the digital artwork. Collage them to add some depth and interest. And more collaging, 2 big tags that will go in either way and be pretty. And we're into the final signature. Here we have a little bit of chain and 3 tags that are pretty no matter how they hang. This has been stacked here with cardstock and glued securely so it won't tear through the paper. Fussy cutting and lining. A little more fussy cutting. This is a top tuck. All I've done here is fold down the corner, 2 grommets, frayed fabric, and a pretty bow. Here we have Robin Hood himself. The beads are on a pretty pinky red floss to go with the ribbon. And then tucked in are 3 tags, tied in ribbon. They slide apart, you slide them right out, slide them back in, and a little tiny bulb pin with 3 pieces, chips of mulenkite. It's a stone that has similar colors to the tags themselves. And this just sticks back in, and it's actually in there pretty firmly. This is Oath. Silence. This says Notes. Here's one with the bells, the 3-part tags. It can go in either way. And then this is just additional writing paper. That's another tag. They're everywhere. And this is, that's Friar Tuck. And this is all done with a floating spine. If you're not familiar with what that means, it means the signatures, or these sections of papers, are stitched with a 5-hole stitch using the DMC floss onto fabric that is only glued on its sides. So this actually is not connected to the back. If you reach in here, you can feel the Tyvek paper I used as a guide. It helps add strength to the floating spine. It's actually hollow. And then I have the top and the bottom with this velvety, soft, artificial suede material and a rich green. Does have a bit of a gator mouth. And I have written out longhand a letter explaining how it was made and which digital kits I've used. I always want to give credit to the digital artist. And the chain. On the back it shows Robin Hood on the spine. You pick which part you want showing on the top. I like the lady, echoes the woman. Wrap it around. And then you get the side. Push it down as tight as you want. Slide in the lobster clasp. And it is sealed and ready to go again. Thanks for joining me.